Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to Dattitude Live. It's Friday morning. It is the first day of December, and I'm Jim Derry along here with my friend Larry Holder. And Larry, I didn't realize when we switched to the new timer thingy, how much longer a minute and a half is from a half a minute.
You're just so bored you need to talk. Like you're just like you're like brimming with anticipation. Oh my gosh, I got to get all these words out. I got to say how much I love the Saints. Like and they're gonna win.
That's what it was.
Right.
That's exactly what you read my mind. 50. They're gonna win by 50.
I've known you for long enough. I know it. Like I know what you're gonna say.
You're giving out my prediction already. They're gonna win by 50. I don't.
I'm just into Christmas spirit. Like you can see, I
see that. I mean,
I'm in the giving spirit. Like I'm giving you, like you need to give hope. Let's give hope, right?
Well, hopefully the Saints aren't in the giving spirit as we preview Saints and Lions on this Friday morning. Hello, everybody. Welcome. And if you would like to put your comments or questions in the comment stream for us to read here on the air, we'll be happy to do so. Just type it in if you're watching on Facebook and YouTube, and we will do so. Larry Holder of The Athletic, what is going on this morning? Look, we are excited about this. I can't believe it's week 13 already. That I will say.
It feels like there's this long anticipation for a season, and then once you get there, it kind of like flies by, and it's kind of you're learning what teams actually are at this point in the season, and whether it's with the Cowboys last night, like it might be time to be a believer in them. Even when their defense plays well, Dak Prescott is playing MVP level.
Yep.
Or whether it's locally here, the Saints are just what they are, and you're just kind of living on just an unknown, meandering week to week thing. Like that's what it is. You don't know what you're going to get. I mean, that's what they are. They are kind of like the unexpected. Maybe they score 30, maybe they score 10. Like it actually points more toward the latter, given how the offense has regressed the last few weeks.
You know what's funny when you talk about the Cowboys? It reminds me that there's so many Cowboys fans that they complain about their team. People complain about Dak, and of course he has a bad game every now and then, and the Cowboys have a bad. But I thought the Cowboys they played a bad game last night and got away with it. I mean, they played awful on defense. They let Geno Smith do things he hadn't done since early in the season, and maybe some of the stuff he hadn't done since last year. DK Metcalf was running free all night long. They couldn't stop DK Metcalf. The rookies, Jason Smith, Najigba, they couldn't stop him either. So, I mean,
exactly. And I can tell you this, look, Dak Prescott, the last 5 weeks, he's been the best quarterback in the NFL. Numbers are there. All you had to do is watch last night or watch other games. I mean, he's just in a groove. And it's really amazing because they haven't run the ball that well. Like they have Tony Pollard.
Yeah, he hasn't done anything.
Right. And you're wondering, okay, they franchise tagged him. And that's kind of a little tease. I have a free agent stock watch. I did one after week 6. I've done one after week 12 going into week 13. I mentioned Tony Pollard and the running backs and how the big names haven't done that much this year. So are they ever going to get paid? So yeah, but it's still, when you look at things like that, like they're finding ways to win even when they're not playing their best game. Like, and to bring it, kind of spin it back to the Saints, like even the Lions have done that too this year. They've won games where they haven't been at their best and still found a way to win, a la when they played the Bears. So, they stormed back and beat the Bears. But the Saints, that's just not there. Like that is a rarity that they find a way to win. Not like it seemed like they were doing that early in the season, like week 1, like they found a way to win.
Right.
Carolina, they didn't play their best. They found a way to win, but they're not doing that anymore. And that is concerning, even though everything is still kind of up in the air. I mean, if they still play well, they can still win a division and make the playoffs.
By the way, Larry Holder of The Athletic, you can find all his stuff on theathletic.com or on the app on any of your phones, as I do. I've been a subscriber to The Athletic for quite a few years now and use it regularly. So you can catch any of his stuff there. Kind of going back to what I was talking about, though, is, if fans of the Cowboys can complain, I think no matter what you are, right? I mean, I think you compare everything to people's perspectives. And I guess the reason why Saints fans are so upset is they expected so much more of this team. I mean, they did get hyped up. We talked about how this was the easiest schedule in the NFL. And if you think about it on average, I mean, let's be realistic and use logic and whatever. You're only going to have the easiest schedule once every 32 years. And so the Saints are basically blowing their chance. Now the Falcons have the 31st easiest schedule, so it's not much different. Saints and Falcons are what and what. But to blow your chance to be 5-6, this team should be way better than that. And I guess that's why we talk about every team has complainers. No matter what I'm sure the 49ers have some complaining fans. The Eagles have complaining fans. The Kansas City Chiefs have complaining fans. But man, I guess that's where we are.
But if there's ever a year for Saints fans to complain, rightfully so, it's this year.
I agree.
There's no doubt. This is a different year than even last year when you didn't really know what you were doing at quarterback. This year, you knew what you were doing at quarterback. Like, that's the difference. And
yeah, I agree.
So that, and you thought you knew what you were doing in other spots. And, it goes back to offensive line play early on wasn't what it's supposed to be. And you're having to juggle around. You're going from musical chairs at left tackle. And so, games, like you said, the Saints should be way better than they should be. I don't know if they should be way better, but probably say 2 games better than one.
Yeah, at least that. I agree with that. All right, we got some comments, some hellos, I guess we should say, if I could stop moving my computer around. Mike Guillory from Welsh, Louisiana. Who dat? I believe I'm headed in your area. Mike, I am going to do the play-by-play for the Shaw St. Thomas More game tonight on Varsity Sports Now. I believe Welsh is in Southwest Louisiana, correct?
Yes, of course you're doing the Shaw game. Why aren't you doing Rummel Catholic?
Because VSN is contracted by Shaw. We do all of their home games and into the playoffs. I
can't believe you would be contracted by Shaw. I can't believe
it's the first year. I finally got him to jump on board.
You're the good luck charm.
Maybe because I have done this will be the 10th Shaw game I've done this year, I think. They're 10-2. No, so maybe it's the 9th. But there is actually, for the first time ever on VSN, not to get away from what we're doing here, but we're doing St. Thomas World broadcast because they're an affiliate and a Shaw broadcast. So you can watch whichever one you want.
Oh my gosh, it's like dueling, like Sirius XM.
I know,
you could pick your hometown homers.
No doubt. Jeff is correct. If Lockett doesn't drop that pass, could have been a completely different game. Look, Gino was playing well last night, so it definitely wasn't his fault. Mike also saying that so many hurt players. Move on from Mike Thomas. I'll ask you about that in just a minute. Lee is talking about who dat, and Rochelle, go Saints. It's never too late. You are correct, Rochelle. Well, you can't say it's never too late because at some point it will be too late. But it's definitely not too late now. If you look at the standings that we have up there, Larry, we know this. We moved the Falcons ahead of them because technically the Falcons, even though they're tied, they own the tiebreaker as of now. But they have to play again. So really, that tiebreaker doesn't mean a whole lot. I mean, I think any sane person who's watched this terrible division would likely think that it's going to come down to that January 8th game, Saints and Falcons in the Dome.
Yeah, I would agree. And yeah, it's definitely not too late. No, there's no question. That's the weird situation that everyone's in, where look, this team, they're 5-6, and I feel like this team has probably caught more heat than
no doubt.
Than a lot of 5-6 teams in the league, or 6.
Maybe any other 5-6 team in the league.
I would agree. Any team like meandering or in the middle, they're probably catching the most heat. Maybe the team that's probably catching a little more heat would probably be, say, the Chargers, because they are below expectations even lower.
They're a 4-win team, aren't they?
Right. So that's the thing. They've fallen even further with a better quarterback situation.
That coach has got to go. I mean, people complain about Dennis Allen, and rightfully so. I get it. But Brandon Staley is in a different world. I mean, he's awful. How does that guy still have a job?
He won't after this year.
There's no doubt about that.
I mean, he was in a hot seat last year after blowing it against Jacksonville. Now they've plummeted. No, he is long gone.
And they made changes there, and that didn't help at all. Sometimes you just can't make changes to your staff. Sometimes it's just the head coach. And the fact that they didn't realize It was their head coach. I've been complaining about him for a couple of years now. I mean, you're wasting precious years with this quarterback. I mean, this is I don't want to say once in a generation quarterback in Justin Herbert, but I think it's not a quarterback you're going to get every time. Put it that way. I mean, Justin Herbert should be a top 5 quarterback in my opinion, and he's getting wasted.
It's like Drew Brees when you're wasting his. I mean, Justin Herbert's got a long time, but it's like when you waste Drew Brees. Like it was,
and they did
poor defenses. So it's the same thing. But yeah, like you mentioned the division, and yeah, look, I'm assuming that this division winner is probably going to have a losing record because I don't have any faith that they can beat other teams outside of the division. And then
you don't think they can win 4 out of their last 6 games?
Possibly, but I would assume that they wouldn't. Like, I think going 500 and finishing 8-9 would probably be likely. Like, here's the thing. Like, I don't think they can beat the Rams at this point. I think the Rams are getting better.
I agree.
You play your division and then you play a game Sunday. And if you lose, you're 5-7 and you're 2 games below 500. So yeah, I think 3-3 is probably the best scenario for me. Realistic scenario.
I mean, there's a realistic, just being about realistic, there's a realistic chance that both the Saints and Falcons lose this week, and Bucs for that matter, and that the leader is 5-7. Mike Gilroy says it's not the worst division in history. It's not. Look, Seattle won their division with a 7-9 record, and the Saints went there and choked and lost. I mean, we all remember Beastquake. So right now, it's not the worst division in history. When you finish 7-9 and win the division, that's the worst division in history. I believe last year, the NFC South, and I know Jacksonville had a miracle in the playoffs against the Chargers. That was one of the worst divisions I've ever seen as well. So this is not the worst division in history.
Well, Carolina won it at 7-9 a bunch of years ago, so that you could argue maybe that one was
exactly.
Yeah.
So, but it's not good. And look, let's talk about this game in particular. Let's get to Detroit. Back to square one. We talk about in the headline for the Saints. A chance last week, they blew it. They had a chance to move 2 games ahead in the division. We talked about it. You didn't like where they were. I was picking them. You were right. I was wrong. And again, I'm admitted on the air here. But where do you go now? I mean, the Saints have shown throughout this year. I know people don't want to believe this, but you have to. One thing is, as a bettor and a betting writer, you kind of go through this analytically. And analytically, the Saints have shown that when they have a couple bad games, they usually follow it up with a good one. I'm not saying whether the Saints are going to win yet. We'll say our predictions for the end. But I would kind of be surprised, and I know they're banged up, but I would kind of be surprised if the Saints don't come out and play well this week.
I just wonder, can they put up enough points to beat Detroit? Because also I feel like Detroit is not just a team that throws the football. Like, they run the football well now. Like, that is kind of a thing where
the best running back's hurt, though.
I get it, but you have one of the two. I mean, you pick one, either one. They've both had good games without each other. Like, that's something that is has happened and really helped Detroit. And look, Detroit is kind of, their record is still really good, but they've definitely kind of lived on the edge and fell off on Thanksgiving to a Packers team that's getting better and a Jordan Love that's actually getting better. So I feel like that the Saints in other seasons, I could say, all right, maybe they play up and play well against competition, but I have yet to see them play well against a good team or even a team that's a little above average. I have yet to see that. So I don't have confidence that they have that in them. Yeah. And the rest of the schedule, this is the only winning team right now in the rest of their schedule. So this, I don't have see where, oh my gosh, they're going to play up to competition. Like I haven't seen that, and I don't believe they have that in them. Bill
says he wants to call it like it is. He's not sure why today's sportscasters are always backing the organization. I will say this: I don't think they're really backing the organization this week. I don't think there really are too many people. They don't ask the questions that I would like to hear asked a lot of times. But today's world is different, and you as an NFL writer, and you covered this team for a long time, it's hard to to say the things we want to say sometimes, because you still have to go in that room the next day.
Right. It's easy for a
columnist. It's easier for
journalist or columnist. Like, look, I mean, just because you ask a question, you don't get the answer, I'm still going to write my opinion. Like that for me for years, that's never changed. And then here's the thing, though, there are times you can't say, "Hey, should you bench Derek Carr?" Like things like that, because why are you going to ask questions a lot of times that that's not going to happen?
Yeah,
that's so. A part of it,
but you can phrase them differently, I guess. Well, look, and that goes to, Bill wants to start Winston, at least got a winning attitude. It ain't going to happen, Bill. You're wasting your breath. It's never going to happen. And I've said this throughout the week and last week, and people wanting to bench. If you're watching the show and you want the Saints to bench Derek Carr, then go to sleep and wake up in about a year and a half, okay? Because it's not going to happen. They are married to Derek Carr for the next 6, barring injury. There's 17 games next year. There's 6 more this year and maybe a playoff game. So a minimum of 23 games, barring injury. And even then, they've shown they're still going to start him if he's injured. He's going to be the starting quarterback of this team for the next 23 games without question. Stop saying it. You could say it all you want. It's not going to help anything. They're not going to make a change.
The only way this happens, it would be if they drafted someone. Say I'm not saying that's going to happen, but here's the scenario that I would say the only way that would happen. They're not going to go sign a guy like they signed him. They're not going to trade for a guy. And so it would have to be if for somehow they have a mid or earlier first round pick, draft a quarterback, and pull a Raiders and just bench him like I did to Jimmy Garoppolo.
That song, Dream,
right?
Dream. No, it ain't gonna happen.
I'm not saying that's going to happen.
This organization will not do. This is not like your typical everyday organization. Loyal to a fault and beyond loyal to a fault. I believe Derek Carr's salary cap number is much different than Jimmy Garoppolo. I think his salary cap number is something along the lines of $44 million. They are not. First of all, they don't draft quarterbacks, and they draft them later, and they don't give them a chance. Like Jake Haener was drafted later. Will he ever see the light of day? Probably not. I mean, let's be realistic. He might play in some preseason games. Oh, he looks like Drew Brees. We'll never know. I mean, they don't do that. This is just not what this team does. It could be frustrating as all hell. I mean, I'm not saying they should do this or should start Derek Carr for the next 23 games. I'm saying what they're going to do.
Jameis Winston had his chance and unfortunately got hurt.
Yeah.
Like that, right? Like that's the thing. Like he was getting better that first season. He was the starter and he got hurt. And he came back the next year, was still a little banged up, different coaching.
Never gave him a chance.
And they had a different outlook. And so
never gave him a chance.
Right. Then that's where it stopped.
It is what it is. Sean says fans stop showing up, they will change. No, they won't. They don't care. They literally don't care. Oh, Mrs. Benson, if there's only 40,000 people in the stands, first of all, there's never going to be 40,000 people. They would have to go like 1 in 16 the next 3 years. There'd be 40,000 people in the stands. I'm telling you, people keep saying this to me. I keep telling you, they don't care. They're going to keep doing this. They're going to keep. Dennis Allen's going to be the coach next year. I mean, Pete Carmichael may or may not be the offensive coordinator, but Dennis Allen's not going anywhere. Derek Carr's not going anywhere. So if you can't handle that, you may either want to pick another team or go to the mall on Sundays or hang out with family, reintroduce yourself to your children. I don't know.
They are not ones to be impulsive. I mean, that's just what
impulsive. That there's a difference beyond impulsive and going through the crap that we've been going through for the past 2 years now. There's a big difference.
They're also going to spend money and they're not going to be like, oh, we're going to throw it away. Like, obviously, this is still a Tom Benson organization type where they're not going to just throw money away. Like, that's not the Benson.
I understand that.
Throw it away. Like, there's still a frugalness.
I get that.
say, even though they've certainly opened the pocketbooks more And look, well, and it's good when you open the pocketbooks and you're winning, though. Like if you open your pocketbooks and you're losing, now you have the situation that they're in.
Yeah, well, I mean, it goes to show again, there are worse coaches in the league than Dennis Allen. There are staffs. I'm sure there are staffs somewhere in the NFL that are worse than the ones the Saints have. But you combine, let's be honest, at best a mediocre coach with a sub-mediocre staff and different positions that aren't playing up to capabilities, you get what you get. This is what they are. And they just don't want to make, I mean, you jumped into Dennis Allen without really looking through and saying, again, that maybe Dennis Allen was the right choice. Maybe I'll be proved wrong, and maybe one day Mickey Loomis will be proved right, and Dennis Allen will win with this franchise. I could be wrong. And I'm being all serious. I'm not being facetious right now. But the fact that they didn't go through this procedure, and we're talking about this in week 13 of his second year, that they didn't go through the procedure of really looking at other coaching possibilities, that's what's frustrating to me more than anything.
Well, part of it is you see the in-house success that Dennis had.
With the defense.
Right. And so that certainly would qualify him. Like he would have been interviewed at other places like that. Like that's,
you think he would have got a job somewhere else as a head coach?
I don't know that.
Yeah, neither do I.
I think Sean Payton's stamp of approval was a big factor. The fact that they've known him for so long, they've seen the defense get better under him. Like people like on that side of the football trust him. Like that's the thing. Like he had a multi-year interview process to become a head coach. And he certainly and then at that period of time, I don't regret saying that was a no-brainer hire for the Saints, because at the time it was. Like maybe. I feel like he did.
Maybe you're right,
and he deserved. I felt like he improved and deserved the job. Now,
but I guess the problem I have, Larry, is not so much that they picked him, because I'm not saying maybe he wasn't. Maybe he was at the time the right selection. Maybe it was a no-brainer, like you say. But the fact that you're talking about a job that only 31 other people have, and it's so important. You would think they would at least open up and listen. They didn't even listen to anyone else. They brought in candidates for a show because of the Rooney Rule and whatever. But they didn't really, really listen to anyone. You could tell. I mean, it was handled in such a quick fashion. Everybody knew Dennis Allen was getting this job. Why wouldn't you at least open it up and get real candidates in here and pay attention? And I'm not saying Eric Bieniemy would be a better coach. Maybe he would, maybe he wouldn't. Maybe he'll do well with Washington. Maybe he won't. But, I mean, this organization doesn't even want to listen.
Well, Aaron Glenn, I know, was a serious candidate. Yeah. They know him for a long time, too. And
right.
So I think that – but, that's – again, a lot of it comes down to loyalty within the organization. He's been there and done it. And so, that's the thing. And – if you look at, I don't remember who was hired through that hiring cycle. I'm trying, Brian Daboll looked great for 1 year. Now the New York's terrible. Which anybody with who wasn't blinded by their smoke and mirrors last year could tell you that the Giants were not a good team. They smoke and mirrored their way to the playoffs, and you could see that house of cards being able to fall. But still,
Jacksonville coach was hired at the same time. Peterman, Doug.
Yeah, Doug Peterson. Yeah,
Peterson.
Wasn't
Miami's coach hired at the same time?
Mike McDaniel. That sounds. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Yeah, that sounds right.
I mean, although Josh McDaniels was hired at the same time too.
All right, we named some of these things. Some of the differences there. Tua Tagovailoa can play.
Yeah.
Let's see. Who else did we just name?
Well, he can play when he doesn't have a concussion.
Well, right, and he hasn't. Now they figured it out.
Well, they went and spent money. They spent their money on Tyreek Hill. The Saints spent their money on Derek Carr.
Yeah, they can get rid of. He gets rid of the football quickly. And look, the pass pressure rates for their offensive linemen have changed dramatically with some of the same pieces that were bad the last year or two. But no, look, you can blame Dennis Allen all you want. Even Sean
I'm not
Payton,
just blaming Dennis Allen, though. I mean, I'm sounding the concerns of the fan. Again, I'm not nearly as down on Dennis Allen as other. Now, I'm just down on Pete Carmichael as other people, probably more so. because this dude shouldn't have been ever hired in that position. If you want to be a consultant or a quarterback's coach or whatever, fine. That's a whole different story. This is supposed to be about Saints Lions. We're already spending too much time on this, but so
but this is actually what people want to talk about.
But
it's bigger than this game. Like it's a holistic.
Well, that's how we got here. That's the point. Right. We asked the question back to square one. Why are we back to square one? We're back to square one because the ineptitude of the people running this team. I'm not just talking about Dennis Allen and Pete Carmichael. You can go further than that if you want. Now they'll never be on my show again. But I'm just saying, I mean, I'm going to be honest. That's what we do. Is people say that we don't say what we're supposed to say in the media. There you go. I've said it. Ineptitude.
You don't win without quarterback play. The Saints haven't had good quarterback play since Drew Brees, and that's it. Sean Payton didn't have it anymore. I think he saw the writing on the wall, said, you know what, I'm going to take a step away. And
they went to Russell Wilson?
Well, that's also because he also probably found an ownership group that's like the Waltons and said, all right, you're going to give me anything I ever want, period. And the Broncos want to be a winner. That helps. Like Sean.
Oh, the Walmart Waltons, not the Waltons from the 20s and 30s.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Sean Payton will outlast Russell Wilson, but guess what? He's got them playing better and scratching it up and clawing like he did when he had the musical chairs at quarterback in his last year. But he saw the writing on the wall, and if you didn't you don't win without a quarterback. That period, the days of the Eagles winning a Super Bowl with Nick Foles, that's rare. That's not the norm. Patrick Mahomes wins Super Bowls. The Rams got Matthew Stafford. That helped them, and he played great.
Who's the Eagles offensive coordinator that year? You talk about Nick Foles. I think his name's Doug Peterson. Oh, wait, he got hired the same year.
He was the coach, right? No, yeah, he was the head coach. They won. Yeah.
He was the head coach? I thought he was the offensive coordinator.
No, he was the head coach.
Okay.
They won.
Well, still, I mean.
Yeah, exactly. But no,
that guy, we don't want that guy.
Yeah, but that's the thing. If the coach isn't creative enough to do it, and you don't have quarterback
you're right,
play,
Terrence. You're right, Terrence. You're right.
It's not going to happen. You need quarterback play. Look at the quarterbacks who've been in the Super Bowl the last few years: Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow. The 49ers got to the Super Bowl. They didn't win it with Jimmy Garoppolo. That's you need.
No, you're right. For sure.
That's what it is. And you could have bad coaching and a good quarterback, and you're seeing that with the Chargers.
Yeah. Trent Dilfer will never happen again. At least not anywhere in the time, because this is so much more quarterback-driven league than it used to be. So I'm with you on that. That being said, that's why it frustrates me more than anything. This franchise is just not a drafting quarterback. Now, look, granted, they haven't been in a position to where they could draft one of the top ones because they're always picking 18th to 25th. But that's not who they are. That's not their MO. They'd rather go out and sign one. Barry asked the question, did anyone realize the Saints were in square one in week one?
Well, they won.
I guess we didn't. Yeah, they were 2-0.
Yay, they won.
That's even worse. You think about it. They were 2-0. They're 3-6 since they went 2-0. I never thought about it till now. That's pretty bad.
Oh, yeah.
The Ravens winning Super Bowl with Trent Dilfer. That's what we talked about. I don't think it's a once in a lifetime. I think the football was actually just different that year. I mean, it's the same thing as the Bears. So it's not once in a lifetime. The Bears won in '85 with Jim McMahon as their quarterback because they had the same kind of defense. Saints don't have that kind of defense.
Right. Well, it's all right, they won with Nick Foles. And I think, look, the Eagles were playing well actually that year with Carson Wentz. He gets hurt. Yeah. And Carson Wentz never played the same. But still, that is a rarity. You can't say it's never going to happen because, like I said, the 49ers almost won with Jimmy Garoppolo as quarterback. And
right.
He's not a superstar quarterback, but still, your chances are being good. Okay, look at all the top. Let's go through all the top teams. Let's say the top 6 teams this year, starting the NFC. Eagle, say what you want about Brock Purdy. He's been playing great ever since.
Well, the 3 best teams in the NFC clearly are Dallas, San Francisco, and Philadelphia. And what do they all have in common? They all have a really good quarterback. I mean, really good quarterback. You go to the AFC, and Kansas City has the best
teams. They all have viable quarterback play.
Yeah, I mean, so you're right. Viable isn't even the right word. Good. I mean, now you could argue that Buffalo is having a rough year with Josh Allen, but he's still a top 10 quarterback.
Oh, he's a top 5 quarterback.
I don't necessarily disagree with that. I'm just saying. Here's the thing, though, and I will defend the Saints here. We're done this year. It's time to blow it up. No, it's not. They're not done. They're not done this year. I mean, what do you consider done? They're not going to win the Super Bowl. So if you consider that done, then yeah, they're done. They're not going to win the Super Bowl. But they're still the favorite to win this division for a reason, because they're clearly the best team in this division. I mean, Larry and I would probably argue that. I think it's clear.
No, they're still the best team.
They're the best team in this division.
Underachieving team in the division.
No question about that. Is 100% fact that they are the most underachieving. In fact, they might be the most underachieving team in the NFL. They really, them and the Chargers, it's close. It really is.
Saints probably be up there because this is a winnable division. The Chargers aren't going to win that division. Like that's
true.
They're fighting for second. The Saints were like the slam dunk division winners.
I mean, the Broncos lost 70-20 early in the year, and now they're like back in playoff contention. So I mean, it is what it is. Barry says, being Captain Obvious, Saints could end the season 9-8 by beating terrible teams. That's true. And honestly, if they win this week, and you can laugh all you want, they're only 4-point underdogs, and they're playing a team that hasn't played very well lately. We're going to get to our predictions very shortly, actually. But if they win this week, then they get the Panthers at home and they get the Giants at home. Again, you can't count any game as a given for the Saints. We're not going to ever do that here on this show. You can't say it's an automatic win. There's no such thing with this team. But, if they find a way to win this week, they have a legitimate chance to win 3 in a row and get to 8-6. I'm not saying they're going to do that. I'm just saying that's where they are.
Well, they could lose this week and still go 7-7, and then you're like, oh well, this division they can win. Like there's a difference.
I got to be honest. I'm more worried about this team. If you want to pick games that don't match up well for the Saints, I think they have a rougher time going to the Rams, because the Rams are a different team than this week. That game's a much tougher game, I think, than this one.
Well, Rams are getting better.
They're getting much better.
Yeah. So that they've actually they're in playoff contention because of how muddy the wild card is. So they've kind of played their way back in and gotten Kyron Williams back, and that gives them such a big boost running the football. So it opens things up, and their defense isn't bad. They still have Aaron Donald and some pieces. But so yeah, that's the thing. Like the Rams, by the time the Saints play them, could have a winning record. So that's like they're a team that's like, okay, you got to keep your eye on them.
All right, we're going to come back to this slide in about 5 minutes, because we're going to finish off with our Saints-Lions predictions. And I'm going to tell you, I have a little bit more detailed reason for my pick this week than what this is what I think is going to happen. I have a reason for why, a better reason, I guess, for why I think it's going to happen. But I do want to talk about briefly, before we come back to the Saints and finish with that, I want to talk about the Week 13. And Larry writes for The Athletic. He covers the NFL now, not just the Saints. So I'm interested to get your take on one of the games of the year. It's not the game of the year. There's no such thing anymore, I don't think. But Niners and Eagles on Sunday afternoon, to me, is one of the most intriguing games of the year. We talk about, it was the NFC Championship game last year. And I said on Bayou Bets yesterday that I really think that there's probably at least 40 to 50% chance that it's the NFC Championship game again this year. I think Dallas is going to have something to say about it. But when you look at these two teams, I keep saying, this is a bad spot for the Eagles. This is a bad spot for the Eagles. They played so-and-so last week. They just played Kansas City. They just beat Buffalo. They got to play Dallas next week. So it's a bad spot for the Eagles, but they keep winning them.
That's what, to me, Jalen Hurts, he was so bent out of shape even winning the game last week, because he knew he played so bad in the first half and he played so well in the second half and overtime. But he's probably the most, unflappable quarterback in the NFL. Nothing phases him and he gets it done. And you have to wonder, even last year, like say if Brock Purdy doesn't get hurt, did the 49ers beat the Eagles? I think I picked the 49ers to beat the Eagles last year. So yeah, in that NFC Championship game. So yeah, this game, I do find it pretty surprising that that San Francisco is a 3-point favorite against the Eagles on the road. That's
crazy.
I'm kind of surprised by that, because like the Eagles, I do feel like they're a little susceptible on defense, and so maybe that's part of it. And it's like maybe the Eagles are due for a loss because they've won. They've only lost once, but still, yeah, I think that's a game. Certainly, all eyes are going to be on that game. And
what did you pick there?
I picked the Eagles. Like, I
Okay.
don't, I picked them straight up. I just
Okay.
feel like that. Now, look, I'm Giants. I'm thinking of San Francisco Giants. 49ers, their defense is certainly getting better. Like, they are surging up. They had their rough spot, and now they're ascending. The Eagles might be kind of hitting. They're playing through and winning some rough spots. Like, so, but I'm picking the Eagles until they just losing.
I can't blame you at all. Look, I'll say this. From a betting perspective, I don't think you can touch it. I just don't. That spread is, and it's tilted towards the Niners. It very well could be 3.5 by the time they play the game. I checked it this morning. It's still 3, but it's 3 at -115. That means it's tilted towards the Niners. You got to bet 115 to win 100. If you're betting on San Francisco, you got to bet 105 to win 100. If you're betting on Philadelphia. So, and I don't like that everyone in the public, Aunt Mabel, Drunk Joe, and everybody at the bar is betting on the Niners here. And the fact that I like the Niners, it means that I would never bet this game. I'm never going to bet with the public ever. I just don't. So this is a stay away game for me, but I don't see how the Niners are definitely a better team, I think, but I get why you're picking the Eagles. They keep winning. They just keep winning. They're not as good as they were last year, but they just keep winning. And I understand you keep picking them till they lose. So it's going to be one heck of a game. And I think the Niners also will have a little revenge factor. And I'm looking forward to seeing how Brock Purdy plays in this game. Because he doesn't seem to tick that way. He's just kind of an even keel. This is why one of the reasons why he's so good. It's the even keel kind of guy.
I'm throwing in a tennis analogy here.
Yeah.
He's Pete Sampras.
Yeah, that's really good. I think that's exactly. Well, there's a lot of people watching the show don't know who Pete Sampras is because they're
pitiful.
Younger than the age of 40. If you're under the age of 40, you might not know who Pete Sampras
Come on. You got to know Pete Sampras.
I mean, I grew up watching tennis. Doesn't mean everybody else did. All right. 2 other games I want to talk about, again, very briefly, because we only got a few minutes left in the show. If you want to give your Saints prediction, by the way, now's the time to do so. Type it in. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, type it in, and we'll put it on the screen as we get to that, before we go off the air. But I do want to talk briefly about, we're going to save Falcons for last. Chiefs and Packers on Sunday Night Football. This is kind of a sandwich game for the Chiefs for me. A look at, I picked the Chiefs as part of a money line parlay. I think they're going to win. And I'm not buying into the hype of Jordan Love. I get that he's played much better.
You didn't last week. I know you didn't.
No, and you're right. I was wrong on that one, but I just think that this is a tougher game. Kansas City's defense is better than Detroit's defense. If I had to pick against the spread, I would probably take the Packers because it's in Lambeau, but I picked it as part of the money line parlay. Kansas City plays Buffalo next week. They easily could be looking ahead. I think they win this game, but I think they skate by and win it by, they eke it out at the end.
I think that's actually good. I would agree that Kansas City 6-point favorite on the road at Green Bay. Green Bay's been playing better. So I think
they have been.
And it's not like Kansas City's offense has been super explosive. Like they put it together against the Raiders last week. So what? Like, that's not even like playing on the road. Like, it doesn't.
Well, they didn't do anything the first quarter and a half. They had, I think the first quarter and a half, they had like 10 yards or something.
Right. So I think Green Bay at Lambeau, Jordan Love's playing better. I think that is the receiving core is playing a little bit better for the Packers. So yeah, I mean, I picked the Chiefs, because I just do money line picks. Like, I picked the Chiefs, but I could see them winning by 4-3.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, we're on the same page there. That's scary. All right, last game. Look, this game, and I was looking through trying to find a better game. This is not a great week for football, other than the marquee matchup of Niners and Eagles. I mean, really, Saints-Lions is probably the second best game, unless you want to say Chiefs-Packers. And it's why the Lions-Saints game is the big game on Fox at noon. So Falcons-Jets, you might say, who cares? But it's not just here in New Orleans or there in Atlanta. They're going to be paying attention to this game. You look at that over-under, 33.5. That's miserable. The weather's supposed to be ugly. This could be a 13-6 kind of game. The Jets are going, I think, again with Timmy Boyle. Ugh. Desmond Ridder stinks. I don't know if there's going to be any offense in this game other than Bijan Robinson and Breece Hall.
Dude, it might be a Younghoe Koo game.
Oh, in the wind, in the rain.
In the wind. He's going to have to play the draw.
Yeah, exactly.
Him versus Greg the Leg. Isn't Greg the Leg their kicker?
Greg Zuerlein, yeah.
Yeah. So, I'm trusting Desmond Ridder more than Tim Boyle. Tim Boyle was awful. Like I said it last week, and you agreed. Trevor Siemian should be playing. He should be their starter.
100%.
Yes.
Well, the reason why he wasn't playing, I think they said last week. Now, I don't think they'll hesitate this week to put him in. He wasn't ready last week. They said he literally was the number 2 quarterback. He didn't know the playbook yet. So they thought about throwing him in there, but I thought this was like one of Trevor Siemian's things is like he's like one of the smartest dudes on the planet or something. So how do you know?
I think he's got a weird nickname on Pro Football Reference. It's called Sizzle, and no one knows why. I think at the Saints, someone might have been Luke Johnson actually asked him about why is he called T Sizzle. I forget.
Well, I'll just say this shows how bad the Jets are. If I'm advocating that Trevor Siemian should be in there quarterback, and he unquestionably should be, if he's your best quarterback active, then you got a problem. I still think the Jets are going to win this game. I really, you know why? The Falcons put so much energy into beating it was like, Arthur Smith's talking about like this is the game of his career. Really? It's the game of your career? You beat a NFC South opponent in season to get to one game below 500, and it's the most important game in your career? That says a whole lot about who that dude is and why he should be blank canned when the season's over.
They've never won any important games ever under him. So, yeah, I think he's in first place in the division.
He's worse than Dennis Allen. He needs to go. Well, actually, if you're a Saints fan, you're like, please keep him. Don't fire him.
It's like, hey, you wanted the Falcons to keep Mike Smith for as long as
you're right. I certainly did. Please don't fire that dude. Mean, don't fire Mike Smith. He went for it 4th and 5 in his own 25 and gave the Saints a victory once. Please.
I took the Falcons. I can't pick the Jets in good faith to beat anyone right now. Like their defense is really good, but I can't. Sorry, the Falcons might win 10-6. But I think the Jets can't move the ball at all. Like it would be lucky, like if Breece Hall just made 2 breakaway runs and scored, maybe that's how they win. But Tim Boyle's not getting anything done. Like period. One game
they call him Timmy over. They call him Timmy over there.
Oh Lord, I'll call him Terry. I don't know, whatever.
Before you say, hold on, real quick.
What you didn't look at was Denver at Houston. I think that's.
I was teetering between that game and the Falcons-Jets game. It was really close. Our entire Bayou Bet staff has Denver. What do you have in that one?
I took the Texans.
I mean, I stayed away from it. I took the under, actually. That's one of my best bets is the under. I think it's 47 because I think the Broncos defense is playing better. I would pick Denver if I had to, but I don't have to, and I'm staying away from it. So I'm just going to take the under there. Restriction says Tim Boyle has more interceptions than TDs for his career, including college. How does that dude get in the NFL? Seriously, how is he in the NFL? Do you really need? I mean, there aren't enough retread quarterbacks in the. I mean, the Browns got Joe Flacco for God's sake. You can't find something like that.
Why? Well, you know why he's with the Jets because it's like the Allen Lazard, Randall Cobb. He's an Aaron Rodgers buddy. Seriously,
oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Good Lord, everything revolves around Aaron Rodgers. Don't get me started on that.
Sadly, I know. Trust me,
and by the way, by all means, Aaron Rodgers, come back with this miserable team. Come back and play so you can ruin whatever's left of your career. Because if you come back, you're going to blow your Achilles again or something stupid, and you'll never be able to play again. Your old ass will be done. So please, by all means, rush it back to play with this crappy team. Please.
I find his response to that is like, so what if I tear it again? It'll just heal back up in 5 or 6 months. I'm like, what?
I'm just gonna go and do yoga. I know that's not yoga. That's meditation.
Retreat.
Yeah, whatever. You're going to retreat. Go on a 40-year retreat. Come back in 40 years. So we'll see what you look like with a long gray beard. All right. CJ says his Saints prediction is pain. He's clubber-lang. I mean, look. All right, Naquinta, that's a little too long, but basically what she says is the Saints need a front office cleansing. Ain't gonna happen.
Mickey Loomis, no, that's
ain't gonna happen. Mickey Loomis is gonna leave when Mickey Loomis wants to leave.
Which is never.
You think? You don't
unless
think he
he
wants
just
to retire and
says,
go on a fishing
I'll
boat?
retire. But
That's what I'm saying.
he'll have some like cushy other job with the Saints.
You don't think Mickey would want to like? I get the sense actually that he would want to retire one day, and not because he doesn't, not like Sean Payton left because he didn't like what he saw with his team. Let's be frank. I mean, Sean Payton didn't leave because he wanted to take a year off or was tired. Sean Payton didn't like where this team was going, and like, oh, I don't want my legacy to be tarnished.
I think Mickey would probably like to win and be successful without Sean Payton.
Yeah, no, I agree.
There's a
see that.
motivating factor there.
I feel much differently about Mickey Loomis in a positive way than I do about Sean Payton. Don't get me started on that. But let's get to this game and finish the show positively or negatively, depending on how we pick. Saints Lions, as always. Larry was right last week. I'm going to let him go first. He's the guest. What do you got?
There's no way I'm picking the Saints. No, I'm not doing it. Like, I don't trust they could score touchdowns.
Well, hold on. You're saying there's no way you're picking the Saints. What if you thought the Saints were going to win? Would you still not pick them?
I don't think they'd be better than Detroit, even if they were full strength.
Okay, fair enough.
So, no,
that's what I was asking.
I'm not. Actually, I would think about it. I'll put it to you that way. But I don't even
think about it.
I don't even need to think about this one. I think Detroit, they can get it done in the air, on the ground, and even if Detroit's defense isn't playing up to snuff, and at times it doesn't, I don't have any confidence that the Saints can put up points on a consistent basis. None of it points to a win to me. None of it.
You're not giving them. So you're saying there's not a chance.
I will say there is 0% chance. None.
0% chance.
Yes.
Oh man, you gave me a clip to cut out that we can run next week if they win.
Look, you know me. I'm not one to not take.
No, you're definitely not.
Not go on the edge. 0% chance.
I mean, that's how Pixie Dust Friday got coined, because you said I think you were wrong like 4 weeks in a row. And we had to pull out all the clips or something.
I've been
like
right
that. You've been right more than you've been wrong this year for sure.
Yeah.
I've been about half and half. All right. It's that time of the show where I will say this. Before I make my prediction. It's the same prediction I put out in my NFL picks column, which came out at 8 a.m. yesterday. I'm not joking. At 8:12 a.m., I got an email from somebody that asked me if I was drunk. So I guess you can see where this is going. Look, I actually think this is a decent matchup for the Saints for multiple reasons. The number one reason, you think about who the Saints lost to this year. All 6 of their losses. And now you could say Jordan Love's not necessarily a mobile quarterback. He's kind of a hybrid, I guess. He's not a stature.
Move.
He can move a little bit. All 6 of the Saints losses this year have come against quarterbacks that can move, or actually beyond move. A lot of them can just flat out run. Jared Goff is a statue. He ain't running. He ain't moving out of the pocket unless he absolutely has to. Now, the Lions have one of the best offensive lines in football, but still, I just think that this is not a bad matchup. I agree with you about the running game part of the Lions, but Montgomery is banged up. He's probably going to play, but he's going to be limited. Jahmyr Gibbs is a great rookie running back. I think the Saints' front line is going to be up to the task. We'll see what Jared Goff has not been going the last few weeks. And someone asked earlier, and I lost it. Let's see if I can get it real quick. We got a lot of messages today. Well, Mike Gilroy asked earlier, what's the word on Lattimore? He's on IR. So Marshawn Lattimore is not playing in this game, and I get that. But there are 3 starting receivers probably aren't playing. I get that, unless Olave comes back from concussion protocol. I just think the Saints are going to be – I used this analogy yesterday. You remember Helen Reddy, you and me against the world? I think that the Saints team is tired of hearing us just crap on them. I think they're actually going to play well this week. I think they not only cover, but I think they win.
I don't think they're tired of it. There's plenty of world left to crap on them, if that's what we're talking about.
Man, Larry Holden's got no love for these New
Not
Orleans
this week.
fans.
No, not this week. I could, like the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, but see, it's too easy. You're picking too easy. It's like I looked yesterday, 93% of the bets taken in this game have been on Detroit -4. 93%. Vegas don't lose.
Well, they might win by 3.
Oh, they might.
I didn't pick a score. I'm just saying I got no
yeah.
faith that the Saints are going to win this.
But okay, so I'll put you on the roaster. Larry Roaster Holder. Pick the spread. I mean, if you got somebody said, here's $10. I want you to go put a bet down on me. You pick whatever you want. You got to do it on the spread.
All right, 31-20 Lions.
31-20 Lions. Okay, I think I predicted 30 to. We both got high scoring games, so we both like the over. I got 30-27 Saints. I think Derek Carr plays his best game of the year. I think Anders Pete at left tackle is actually working out. No one's giving Anders Pete any credit because they always bash him. I actually think he's playing pretty well left tackle. I think the Saints O-line plays well. I think Kamara has a decent day. I think Taysom Hill gets in there. It's a Taysom Hill kind of game.
What about an Alex Anzalone revenge game?
He's hurt, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
Not gonna happen.
He's gonna have revenge from the sideline.
I don't know. All right, that's it. We're gonna wrap it up. By the way, I will say this once again. When I'm done with this, I will go add my monologue, put it up on the podcast site, wherever you get your podcast, in case you missed it. Because most of my shows here are podcast only. We just bring Larry in live every Friday because he's generous enough to come in and do it. We only got, I don't know, 7, 8 of these left.
I'm sure you'll find me in the off season. I'm willing to bet on it.
Oh, okay. There you go. All right. Have a good weekend, my friend.
You too, buddy.
All right. That's it. We will, I hope everyone has a great weekend. Remember, Shaw, if you're not doing anything, Varsity Sports Now, Shaw and St. Thomas More tonight. There are 2 feeds. If you don't want to hear my dumb ass, you can listen to the St. Thomas More feed on VSN. We have a lot of other playoff games as well.
I'm pulling for Shaw, man. Come on, go Shaw, go Ron.
And I'm pulling for the Raiders.
Let's do it.
The Raiders have had an excellent run. We'll see if they can keep it up as they play Catholic. That game also is on VSN, by the way. Rummel Catholic is also on VSN because VSN is a Catholic High affiliate. All that coming up, and then we got Tulane in the AAC. We never even talked about it. I don't like the Wave this week. Larry, you like the Wave or no?
I think it's going to be tough. I can't pick against them. They haven't, when have they done me wrong? They lost to Ole Miss with the backup quarterback, even though they were close in that game. Then the score closer. Take 2, ride the wave. Come on, ride the wave.
Oregon, Washington, real quick.
I'm gonna say Oregon's gonna win that one this time.
I got the Huskies in an upset. Georgia, Alabama.
Bama. I'm pulling
you got
upset.
Bama. Yes. All right, well, we're different on that too. I think Georgia wipes the floor with them. And then Daniels and Knicks for Heisman.
If it's not Daniels, I'm gonna be genuinely mad.
Well, prepare yourself to be mad, my friend.
Well, especially if Oregon wins, then it might be.
I absolutely 100%. This is going to be one of the travesties. And there have been a lot of travesties in Heisman voting. But this one's going to be one of them. Jaden Daniels absolutely deserves to be the Heisman Trophy winner, but he won't be. It's going to be.
Well, Jaden will be happy because in our latest mock draft on The Athletic from our Dane Brugler, we have him going 7th overall.
Wow. Moving up the charts. He's going to be a fantastic pro. Looking forward to that. All right. We will be back next Friday with Larry. I'll be back on Dattitude with my dime on Monday. Hopefully, I said this last week, hopefully be a happy dime. I don't know. I don't know what the hell to expect anymore. Everybody wanted to listen to me go off on a Monday. It was one of the best rated shows we had all year. I don't understand you people. You want to hear me when they lose, when they win, you don't come listen. I don't get it. I mean, I'm pretty good when they win too. So if they win, come back and listen. Larry will be here next Friday. Everyone have a great weekend. Talk to you later. Everybody, peace and love.